Can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit of your background into software development?
Okay. My name is Paul Okodowa, and I've been working in the software industry for say almost a decade now, 8 years to be precise. And so it was my introduction into tech was not so straightforward. It wasn't so straightforward. So I started from customer service all the way to customer success, and then I moved to content writing. From content writing, then to learning software engineering. So software engineering to content creation, like educational content creation, and that's where I am now. So it's not been a very straight journey, but it was. I think my introduction into tech started when I started learning to build websites at the beginning. WordPress and the rest, trying to do. Okay, it was HTML. Okay, I think I'm getting it now. I was teaching in a school where I teach people how to design with CorelDRAW, Microsoft Word, those other stuff that we have those days. And there was this book in the office, and it has this how to build a website, very big book. It's from those O'Reilly, I think O'Reilly's how to build website. And I can remember that the first website there in that book was to build a website for a football team called Carnington Cougars. That's the name of the football team. And so I was following it bit by bit, just going through the HTML bit by bit. And I kind of really got interested because it was very easy to just translate what's inside the book all the way to the PC. That was my first experience trying to build website, and then went all the way to Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver was a terrible software though. So so I went all the way to Dreamweaver, and then it was from Dreamweaver. I just kept on learning, and then YouTube became very popular, and jumped into YouTube and started learning as much as I could. But it was for the job part of it. It was majorly from customer success. So I didn't just go all the way to website because I really did not know anything. I had the knowledge, but I really did not know how to put it into use. But I was doing customer success for a tech company. So that's how it just kept on going.
What was that inspiration from customer success down to software development? Now you're into content creation. Although I don't like using the word content creation as a job description, because even if you are creating content, you are creating content about what you do. So what you do is the job.
Okay.
So what was your inspiration towards all through this journey from one point to the next point? What inspired you to move and get to that point?
Okay. So the first time I was building a website, very cheap website. Then I got that job as a customer success guy. So I was paid 35,000 a month. I can imagine how lean that was. So I was paid 40,000, and then there was tax. There was not tax. It was insurance, I guess, and I think it was 5,000, and then it was 9,000 actually. So I was paying 5,000. My company was paying 4,000, and my take home was 30,000. But the guys those who were building software, they were earning way more than I was. So I was the one involved in scouting the customer, making sure the customer come do business with us. But I was earning very low, very little. And but aside the fact that I was earning little, I'm somebody who's very interested in being the one who's at the top and not the one who's below. So I knew that the easiest way for me to do that would be to build software personally, to move all the way from customer service and build software, even though that doesn't seem like the right thing to do at this in 2025 right now. But what I did was I was taking time to, upskill myself and sell my services outside what I was doing for the company. So I was doing customer success. I had things like templates on how to close deals. I had contract draft. So I had access to all the things that was used in that particular company I was working for. So what I did was that I started to freelance on the side. So I started to freelance on the side, not trying to build software like they did, because I really did not know the technology they were using. I like I don't know. I'm not good at the technology, but I knew the technology they were using, but I'm not very good at it. So I started to freelance on the side. So I started with website development. That's what I started with, and just kept on going. And then website development, I was doing website development for Nigerians, right? But you know how Nigerians can be. Somebody says, "I'm going to pay you 200,000," and that 200,000, you will use it to design heaven and earth for me. So I wasn't so comfortable with kind of relationship I was having with Nigerians. So I thought, what would be the easiest thing for me to do for people outside? So I realized that probably my decision then, probably if I had continued with web design, I would have been able to take it outside. But my decision then was that I was going to begin to build software, build web software, apps, internet tools, external tools for people outside the country. And that's just basically how I just started, building all of that. So when I say I'm a content creator, maybe that's the wrong word to use because I don't create content that makes people happy and all that stuff. So I would say that I'm a teacher. So I teach,
That's very cool.
yeah, I teach software development. Tech education. I teach software development online. That's what I do. So I don't really entertain anybody. In fact, if you're looking forward to be entertained, you won't really watch my content. You won't.
All right, now down to the tech, because I understand that there are careers or skills or businesses that thrive in the right ecosystem, right? So is there a developer hub in Benin, because you are based in Benin right now? Is there kind of a group developer hub where you guys kind of share ideas or what's the word, troubleshoot problems like in Benin?
Okay. I think the good thing about being a developer is that you don't have to be in a local circle, right? It's a choice if you want to be in a local circle or if you don't want to be in a local circle. It's just a choice thing.
Okay.
It's not something that is very compulsory, like maybe like people who sell clothes, yams, and the rest. You don't have to. But in Benin City or Nigeria at large, they have various developer groups that you can belong to. There's a Google developer group. There is an Untitled Designers. There's a whole lot of different groups that you can belong to. You just have to probably find them on LinkedIn or probably go to Eventbrite and sign up for one of their events, attend the events, and you definitely become a member or become a friend to the people who, become a friend to the persons who host those design conferences, right? But for outside, you can just really start from Google searching. So people are very, I think the tech community is one of those communities where people encourage you a lot, even though people can still discourage you a lot. Because when you see people getting a lot of results and you're not getting that result, it's discouragement. But if you're just getting started, they can really encourage you. There are tons and tons of Slack groups that you can join. There are tons of online meetups that you can do. Some persons even do morning brew, like morning coffee sections, like every Monday, every weekend. So you just join them and you get acquainted with what's happening in your industry at that time. So you could actually join as many groups as possible.
So aside these internal resources, because what you just described sounds to me like resources made available by people who are in development.
Sure.
Now, are there other, do you think that in the government, state government, federal government have made enough resource available for young developers? And then if they haven't, what do you think is missing in the whole development system in Nigeria, developer system in Nigeria, from the perspective of the government, not within your group now?
Okay, I think personally that the ecosystem in Nigeria is not thriving yet. Privately, the ecosystem is thriving a bit, but the thing is everybody is doing things in silence, secretly in their rooms. I personally have been in my room for the past 3 years just working and not really coming out, right? But in terms of the government aspect of things, I would say a complete no. I would say no because there's a whole lot of things that is needed for a developer to thrive. If you don't have some very constant factor, you will not be able to thrive as a developer, irrespective of the part of the country that you are. For example, if you do not have light, you will not be able to thrive. It's your productivity is directly proportional to how much light time you have and how much network you have. You know, there's sometimes I'm working personally and network just goes off. Like I can't continue. Like probably I'm on a call and the next thing I just realized that my network just dropped to zero. I can't continue with the call and the person is saying hello, hello, hello. You just have to wait for the call to end or wait for the network to come back and then you go send an apology note. Hey, I'm sorry, it's the network. So you keep on saying that same thing multiple times, right? So I don't think that the government is providing a lot of resource for people who are working remotely or people who are in the digital space. You have to cover up so many things yourself. I did a boot camp. We had 4,000 persons in a boot camp. Lots of persons, while they were working, while they were on the boot camp, lots of them had light fluctuations in different part of the country, not like the same part of the country, different part of the country. A lot of them had light fluctuations. You won't believe that their laptop got fried. Many of them. Some of them, their transformer just went off.
Wow.
Their laptop got fried. So you can literally see pictures of people who say, hey, my motherboard just went bad. Why? Because light just fluctuated. There are some persons who say, I started this boot camp to learn, but in the process of this boot camp, they came and they took my transformer away. As crazy as that is, they took my transformer away and now I can't really join the boot camp. You know, so I think there have to be adequate resources put together for people who are working remotely or who are building application, from security to light to even credit facility for you to acquire gadgets. Naira is not doing so well in the market. I remember when I started, say like 8 years ago, you could actually get a brand new PC for 90,000. That's how much I got my first brand new PC, 90,000. But now, if you want to get a brand new PC, you should be thinking like maybe 2.5 million.
Exactly.
So if you are a developer, irrespective of how good you are, there are some things that you will not be able to do if you do not have a very good PC that you want to use, right? So I think credit line will be a very good thing for the government to do. You borrowing money to get gadgets at 36%, it's a very, very terrible deal.
At DSAG Engineering and Services, we anticipate, manage, and deliver. Since 2000, we have been a leading EPC company, ensuring customer satisfaction through quality service and timely delivery. With integrity, proficiency, and innovation at our core, we provide world-class solutions tailored to your needs. From engineering designs and construction to procurement, manpower outsourcing, and maritime supplies, DSAG delivers excellence. Partner with us today. Visit www.dsag.net or call +23 4807 254 8724. DSAG Engineering and Services. Anticipate, manage, deliver.
Welcome back to the concluding part of this conversation. And before we went on that short break, Engineer Poye was telling us about the difficulty or what the government can do to make it easier. And I tend to agree with him because, these days, the tech and the media space are kind of an outlet for young people to make a living. We don't have people vying for conventional jobs anymore. People are leaning inwards towards developing their skill and making money out of it. I for one, I can attest to the fact that it costs a whole lot of money to get power for production purposes for a day, to get data for a day. So it's actually crazy, to spend 15, 20,000 naira a day just for fuel to power them, because there was no national power. And meanwhile, you still pay for those. And there was one other thing too that I would like to chip into. There is also the difficulty in payments. Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed. I will go through a lot in this country.
Yeah.
You want to buy something online outside the country, you go through hell to pay your money. It's not like you want to take somebody's money. Your own money that you have to pay for a product or pay for a software or pay for something or plugin or whatever it is, you go through hell to get it. I don't know what policy operates that, but man, it's not fair to young developers. It's not fair to young tech people. So thank you for being with us, Engineer Paul.
Yeah, just want to chip in on that idea. Being able to collect payment as a person. So, if you are a freelancer or you're a tech person from if you're a tech person who's based in Nigeria or maybe other third world country, especially in Nigeria, you will find it difficult to make payment and accept payment. I think there are a lot of policies that's making sure that these so-called big guys are able to charge directly your Nigerian card, or as long as your IP address is from Nigeria, there's just so many services that you can't really access.
Exactly.
Just thinking of, I was going to pay for Google Cloud services just a few days ago. I tried my local card, it didn't work. I tried my foreign card, it didn't work. Tried a French card, it didn't work. It just doesn't work. This is something that if you live in the UK or you live in any other country, you're able to do this as easy as possible. But because you're in Nigeria, it's difficult. Even if you were building products in Nigeria and you're building for people who live in maybe in the UK or in the US, there is hardly any infrastructure that is based in Nigeria that you can use to charge that person. Right? You would have to rely on Amazon, or you have to rely on Stripe. You have to rely on other tools that when you charge that person, you are going to pay your tax to those other persons. I mean, recently I was taxed $33 simply because I was charging somebody penny. I mean, the amount of money I was going to charge this person is so low, and before I was able to complete that transaction, I was charged as much as $33 just to complete a very simple transaction like that. That's how hard it is for people to transfer money. So I think that's something that the government will have to look on. Else, Nigeria will not be able to compete in a global space. We'll just keep building fintech product, or we'll keep on building the same product for the same people over and over and over again, and which is very, very, very terrible, if you ask me.
Aside from aside from even expanding the tech space, I don't like using fintech because it's like fintech is the only thing we do in Nigeria. We'll come to that.
Absolutely.
But aside from expanding the tech space, it's taxable income that the government could actually do some. We pay tax to foreign governments simply because
every day you pay tax to foreign government every day
simply because of freelance.
Yes, everything you do as a freelancer, you're doing it majorly in foreign currency, especially if you're somebody. Okay, let's say for example now, if you're working on Upwork, Upwork is a place where you go to bid for jobs. If you're working on Upwork, you first of all buy Upwork coins. They call it Comet. First of all, pay for that in dollars, right? And then when they give you, see how your Upwork money will go. When they give you product to work on an Upwork, I think they charge you about 30%. So that's minus 30%. Now you have your own 70%. Let's say the person is charging you $100. You're charging the person $100. Upwork take 30%, between the range of 20 to 30%, depending on how, I think 10 to 30%, depending on the price range of the project. And then that person gives you $70. Upwork is supposed to send that money to you, but they can't send the money to you because you don't have
the facility.
Not just facility, there's government restriction as to how much money you can collect, you can receive from Upwork. You can't, Upwork cannot send it to you. So what you do is that you would have to open an account in America, but you do it through a private company, right? Those guys, they will then charge you a particular percent for receiving that money from you first. And then, let's say, for example, that the standard rate of Naira is about 1,600 Naira, as at this point, I guess. And then they too, that same company will sell Naira for you like 1,550 something Naira. So for every $1 that they give you, they collect from you, they will charge you 45 Naira extra after charging the percentage to collect the money from you. So you see, if you're charged, if it's 100 Naira, it's $100 that they are collecting, they are processing for you to your local bank account in Naira. They will charge you 45 Naira times 100, depending on the rate. Sometimes it can be as much as 100 Naira.
Wow.
Right, so that means you pay 4,500 Naira just to take that money from that virtual account to your Naira account. So you can see how much you lose. 30% to Upwork, you come down, you lose about 2 to 5% to maybe GigPay or any of these other two, and then they want to transfer it to your account, you lose about 45 naira per person. So you see how much you're losing. If we had the infrastructure, right, it would have been very easy for government to handle that. Other countries are doing it. India handle their payment themselves. China does it. South Africa does it. Other countries are doing it. So I think the blockage in finance, so to say, we have the infrastructure because we were doing this before.
Yeah.
We had the infrastructure, but I don't know what happened. I'm not a financial expert, but I think the government just came one day and said, hey, stop it.
I have my theory, but I don't want to say it here because this is not the platform for it. But I have my theory. There's something I believe is the reason why, because I do pay. I remember when AliExpress was kind of getting traction.
Yeah, you pay with your normal Naira
I
card.
pay with my normal Naira
I used to
card.
pay with FCMB myself.
I buy stuff from AliExpress and resell in Nigeria. All of a sudden, one government came and said, no, I don't know why. They would give you reasons for money laundering or whatever. But my thinking is you do not throw away the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah, you do not stop 200 million people from receiving money from America simply
Just
because
a few of them will do money laundering.
200 persons are into money laundering, right? You know, I went to, do you know the funny thing, Lawrence? The funny thing here is, because of this issue, I went to FCMB to go open a domiciliary account because they said, okay, it's a domiciliary account, it's fine. Then I happened to have courses on Skillshare. And that first time I made some money on Skillshare, and it was about 72, about 100 and something US dollars like that. In order for me to, I made about 100 and something dollars. So I wanted to collect the money. I put my FCMB DOM account as the account that you send the money to. Normally, it ought to get to you as dollars, right? You know what happened? To get that money from Skillshare here, right, they had charged me about $49 already.
Wow.
I'm telling you, just to get the money from Skillshare's account to this account, they
said 50, but they say they're actually
they charged me 49 US dollars. And then when that money came, you won't believe the rest. It came as Naira. FCMB said it was a mistake or something. They sent FCMB converted the money to Naira for me by themselves, right? And I had to go and pick. Do you know how much got to me? From 100 and something dollars. Do you know how much got to me? 24,000 Naira. That's how much got to me. So that's how crazy the policy can be.
Less than $30.
That's less than $30, yeah. That's how crazy the policy can be.
Wow.
That's how much got to me. And I think at that time, dollar was about 700 or something Naira. That's what got to me from changing about 130 something US dollars and sending it to Nigeria. What got to me was that price. And funny, I had to go to the bank itself to go and make sure this thing worked. FCMB said, we forgot. Oh my God, we changed it. They changed it for me. They changed this thing for me.
Well, we have to move on. We have to move on. We are not policy makers. We can only just ask.
Absolutely.
Now, there was something that I've noticed in the Nigerian tech space. We have great developers, good developers who can make some fantastic. For instance, look at our fintech. Like our fintech is one of the most robust out there. We do mobile payments easily. There are a lot of banks in Nigeria that do not have offices that people even know. But
absolutely,
60 to 70% of Nigeria's bank with them. Why have we not been able to translate this success in fintech to SaaS, software as a service, provide other services? There are other things we could do with software. Why is it just the financial space that is?
Okay. So I think a lot of persons are doing this already, but you will normally find these persons in Port Harcourt. So if you're watching us and you want to go into spaces that are other than the fintech space, Port Harcourt is a place that you should be, not Lagos or Abuja or any of those places. So you would normally find most of these guys in Port Harcourt. So I used to have a work colleague. He formed, he's the owner of, CEO, I think, of Pipes. Pipes is a very cool tool for DevOps. I know a couple of persons in Port Harcourt who are doing this. But I think the Lagos boys and the around Nigeria boys, they have to be doing a fintech for something. Fintech for anything. So the fintech space has become so competitive that your success is directly proportional to how much money you're willing to waste. So if you have a fintech app, Uber for Suya or a Suya app, Abeg, any of these apps like that, your app will become very successful if you have a lot of marketing budget, or you can bring the price very low. So let's say, for example, the standard CBN rate is 10% per transaction, and you personally, you are charging 5 naira per transaction. So you're the one covering the 5 naira for CBN, right? So let's say you have if you're, as long as you're willing to cover that 5 naira, as low as 5 naira, or probably this 15 naira fee that people pay whenever they transfer above 10,000 naira. If you say, okay, I have 300 million, maybe $10 million in the bank account, I can cover that 50 naira for like maybe 100 million transactions. People will leave you complex services like Money Point, OPay, and jump all the way to you. Right, so it's a very volatile market. People get into fintech to lose money, not to make money, right? So anyway, that's a talk for another day. But for reasons why people don't do business to business, because there's really no business. Yeah, you can really quote me anywhere. There's really no business to do business to business software for in Nigeria. Majority of the people that we sell to in Nigeria, they are customers. So it's business to customer. So you almost can't do business to business in Nigeria. You fail. You will not really succeed because there's so many things. There is not enough business in Nigeria for you to have a business software for a particular kind of people. Because when you're building business to business software, Lawrence, you have to niche to a particular set of people. Say, for example, we say you are building, today I was reading about a guy who built a software for people who own pet farms, private pet farms in the US. I think it should be pet farms in the US. So that's a business to business something. People who want to manage their pet farms, they will pay for it. So then if you bring it back to Nigeria, let's say, for example, you want to build a software that people can use to manage bakery. So the question now is, how many bakery do you have in Nigeria? Right, and how many bakeries will be willing to use a tech product like that, and for free? And how many persons will be willing to pay for that product in order for you to optimize their business? So when you have few business in Nigeria, like the number of business in Nigeria is few, but the business that we have in Nigeria are people who just hand to hand, let's just do the things that we can. I'm selling Suya, I'm selling Zinc. But if you say core SMEs, we really don't have SMEs that you can really build for. I will always say that Nigeria is the opposite of South Africa. South Africa has so many B2B products that people are saying, oh, how can we build B2C products? Nigeria has too many B2C products. Everyone is saying, we are all the business. So we don't have the market for any B2B product. And another thing is, this is the one that would break the camel's back. Nigerians don't like paying for anything, especially if it's a made in Nigerian product. Nigerians don't like paying for. If there's no white man inside, if you want to sell to a lot of Nigerians, you have to use a white guy as your advert guy. Yeah. If there's no white guy inside, if you're not saying like this product is made from China, this product is made from UK, one UK address, one American address, and lots of Nigerians don't really think that it is very, very cool, right? And Nigerians hate paying for something. Somebody made a post recently on Twitter, and the person said that Instagram, they're charging about 2,400 naira a year for premium. I think they were doing it on promo or something. Do you know what Nigerians said, Lawrence? They said, don't worry, don't pay. Don't pay. I have a cheat that will enable you to have it for 2,400. This is less than
that's like 2,000 a month.
That's like 200 naira a month. 200 naira a month.
Yeah, that's 200 naira.
Yes, and that's $1.50 or something a year. And the Nigerian person came around and said, telling people not to pay, that he has a cheat code.
Yeah.
So talk less of you're building a B2B software and with all the cloud infrastructure, everything that you want to do, and so you're charging. So I think what Nigerians should do, if you're a software developer, I think what you should do is that you should build for just built for outside the country.
Wow.
Just built for outside the country. The Nigerian market itself is not ready for it's not ready for business to business software. I remember when MoneyPoint came. I think they were not MoneyPoint before. They were another name. They were providing infrastructure for banks, for FCMB, all these other banks. That's what they were doing. And their infrastructure was helping the banks make a whole lot of money, right? And the banks, they were not fulfilling their own side of the bargain the way they should. So what they did was they called out two guys and said, okay, I think we can deploy this infrastructure ourselves. Since we're the owner of this infrastructure, I think we should create a product that we'll be able to use to deploy this infrastructure. We'll use our own infrastructure for another product. So they called out two guys, and those guys started researching on this product called MoneyPoint. So they started in Lagos, a very small catchment area in Lagos. They produced the POS and they were going to collect feedback, right? And the feedback they noticed was that payout was a thing. Like payout, the other banks will wait, they will pay you the next day. So MoneyPoint now came out with a solution that we're going to settle you that same evening. At the end of business day, we will settle you. So once Nigerians heard that these people, they settle you same business day, everybody bought it. So though they were still giving bank infrastructure, but MoneyPoint began to grew so big that they were processing as much as 2 billion. They are now processing way more than bank on a daily basis.
That bank is not. I see that bank in my perspective as the biggest bank in Nigeria right now. Almost every business
is using MoneyPoint now. So they started processing so much money, they left their infrastructure business. And MoneyPoint is now the business now. No more infrastructure business. I'm not sure they still provide infrastructure for any banks now. They left all of those stuff and now it's MoneyPoint. So majority of the businesses that are in Nigeria now, if you own a software business, it's not advisable to build a software business in Nigeria. Instead, build a software business that you personally can use to work directly with the customers. That's how you make money. Else you're just going to be there, you're not going to make money.
So meaning before there has to be a cultural mentality shift.
Absolutely. Before you can build anything B2B, there have to be a culture shift that everybody likes to pay for what they consume. Right. Like we have to be a country where we understand there's no free meal everywhere.
Let me play the devil's advocate here. I'm not sure I would blame Nigeria totally because we have been burnt a lot of times for instance, power company now. Power company is one big example that burns us. We pay, like if you live in areas where you do what they call postpaid. Is it postpaid? Yeah, postpaid. You won't understand what that, like where you just pay a fixed amount a month. You just come and give you 40,000 naira bill a month. If you don't pay more than 80% of that, they disconnect you. And that has been the method from time. So you have, for instance, you could buy data. I'm not mentioning any network. You could buy data. There is one very notorious one that gives a lot of cheap data that doesn't work. You buy data and you struggle to use the data, it will not work. So I think there's a little bit of mistrust. I think there's a mistrust. We don't even trust once foreigners bring. Then the Nigerian man that is like us, that has our same mind, will not trust that. So, but the truth is, it's not always like that. Because in my mind, the way I see that, like if all this fintech, all these mobile banks in Nigeria are doing well, we should not struggle with software development in any other thing.
No, Nigerians, believe me, I personally work for, I barely work with Nigerians, I work for people outside, and they don't really have any trouble with the software that I build. Nigerians build very, very good software. We build great software, very good software. We work for people all over the country. If you go on GitHub, I think Nigeria should be the country with the third highest Git commit in the world, not in Africa, I mean in the world. So we should be like, we have some of the best software developers in the world. So we work well, but I think the thing here is how Nigerians interpret value. Yeah. A lot of Nigerians don't interpret value the way people see it. For example, I'll take app design for an example. Somebody comes to you and say, hey Lawrence, I need you to build an app for me. And you say, okay, I'm going to build it. And say, how much? You say, okay, the guy says, I'm going to pay you $1 million. And you say, no, it's 10 million you have to pay. And then the guy says, and you say, no, I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to, I will not build it. And the person, you hear words like, it's not ordinary to sit down on the chair and be drawing something on the screen. Just to draw and give me, and that's what you are saying. That's what you are charging 1 million for. Or maybe you're a video editor and the person says, edit this thing for me. You say, how much? Say, I'm going to bill you 300K to edit this 1 hour clip. And the person says, eh? So just to join
remove this bad part. Yeah.
So I think because we are paid on a monthly basis, not on an hourly basis.
Yeah,
so we really don't understand what it means to sit on a chair to do stuff for 1 hour.
I've been designing for almost 6-7 years. I've never designed for a Nigeria, except the ones I just do for my friends. I just give them for free. But to design for a Nigerian, I get paid. In fact, I don't even have graphic design to my portfolio because when I came to the first time I moved to Benin City, I went to print some designs I did on one of these print press like that, and I met somebody there who was talking with their in-house designer, and he finished doing very beautiful design, and he gave this man 1,000 naira. And the guy said, "Thank you, sir." And I met the guy like,
why?
How much do they pay for design here? Because I design very well too. Say, 1,000 or 2,000 naira. I'm like, oh, really? Yes. I removed the title graphic design. I just wiped it off. You won't be giving me 2,000 naira for my hard work.
You see the way
kind of thing is that I wiped it off. And I mostly design for foreigners.
So we have to be able to interpret what value means.
Yeah.
So because we really don't know how to interpret value, and we do not understand what time, we don't understand the value for people and also value for time, even time as in regards to our business. A Nigerian person will prefer to use a spreadsheet than to use a normal spreadsheet than to use Google Sheet or than to pay for Google Sheet. You just prefer to do it the hard way because you think, oh, I'm not sure I'm going to, I want to lose this kind of money. But we would have to be able to interpret loss and optimization. Because what all this software does is that they help you to optimize your business so you can focus on other things. But because of the way a lot of Nigerian businesses are built, they are not built for growth. They are built to just survive. So you can't be selling software to businesses that just want to survive.
Yeah.
So, but you see the American businesses, a solopreneur can be running 3-4 businesses, right? Because he's automating them with software. And so if the person will say, okay, how much am I supposed to be paying a staff? If I'm paying a staff in America $15 per hour, and I'm paying this person 5 hours a day to do business, to do something for me, and that means this person is going to work 31 days in a month or 30 days a month, is it not better for me to just buy a software, pay $100 a month that will automate everything that this other person will do? So that means instead of paying 5 times 8 is about 40, 40 times 30 is about 1,200. Instead of paying $200 a month, it's a lot better for me to pay $100 a month to a software that will optimize everything that person is supposed to do. I will just sit down on my chair, take 1 hour, or pay a developer 1 hour who will set up these things for me, and for the rest of the month, it just runs.
Well, I hope we get to that. I hope we get to that point. Because it's increasingly becoming, I won't want to use the word frustrating, it's painful to see. I know a lot of what softwares can do, particularly the influx of artificial intelligence that we have now. A lot of my productions now I do with artificial intelligence. I pay for them, and it's made my job easier. I do not have to get a whole lot of people to work for me anymore. It kind of makes things easier, even in terms of even things as mundane as when you're developing a plan, developing a structure.
Yeah.
So all those things come in handy. I think as Nigerians, we should start doing better to understand value, appreciate value, and at least pay the right price for value. I think we have covered everything that we have to cover on the time for this episode will take us. I would have loved to ask Engineer Paul if he has advice for any upcoming developer, but if you ask me, he has thrown nuggets all through our conversation for upcoming developer. If you are developing right now in Nigeria, he said, try and look for clients outside the country.
Absolutely.
Just try and look for so you survive because it's not cheap.
Absolutely.
It is not cheap to run.
To run your business,
Yeah,
yes.
it's not cheap to run your business here. So you try and look for clients outside the country. Then if you are a policymaker in this government, let's be fair to Nigerian youths. They are the future of this country. If you want to know, if you want to be honest with yourself and you want to know how Nigeria will be when you leave, try to extrapolate 20 to 30 years time. The only type of people in Nigeria are people like you who all they know is politics. How would Nigeria be? If 90% of Nigerians are politicians, how would the country be? So if you're a politician or a policymaker, think like that. Regardless of how beautiful politics is now, you still need the software developers. You still need the media technologists. You still need the bankers. You still need teachers. A lot of government schools now, that's the topic for already, but a lot of government schools now are filled up with old teachers. And I keep asking myself, by the time all these people retire, who is going to be teaching? You still need teachers. You still need your drivers. You still need all these people. And if you keep making the environment uncomfortable for them, they start looking for resource outside. And before you know, they'll leave you alone in the country. So,
Absolutely.
So please, to our policymakers, let's try to make things easy for our Nigerian youth to better their life. So thank you very much, Mr. Paul.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
You're
your
welcome.
time.
Me too.
And if you want to understand what he meant by Nigerians can develop software, check out our TV app. He did that. Just go to the Play Store or the Apple Store, download the app. He did that. That was him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful application.